There is one motorcycle skill that trumps all others, in my opinion, as being the most important skill to develop and practice in order to be a safer street rider. So, what do you think that skill is? Well, I can tell you it's not U-turns. U-turns get all the glory. Everybody wants to learn how to do tight U-turns and show off their riding skills. But have you ever read a story of a rider who died on the street because they did a U-turn in 22 feet instead of 18 feet? Or even because they had to duck walk their motorcycle through a U-turn? Well, I haven't read any of those stories either. There is a direct purpose for this skill for police motor officers, and they're often taking their motorcycles into tight spaces at slow speeds and moving around cars and pedestrians out on the street. But the need for a motor officer is different than that for the general public. And I think videos like this have encouraged street riders to want to learn some of these same skills. Not that I'm saying there's anything wrong with learning these skills at all. In fact, I'm in favor of developing slow speed skills. But remember, we're talking about the one skill that's most likely and most important to save your life out on the street. And before we go further on that one skill that you want to develop, I want to thank our sponsor for this week's video. This week's video was sponsored again by our friends at Dairyland Insurance. They sponsored 2 videos last year, and I'm happy to have them back as a sponsor again this year. Their dedication to what I do here at MCrider is really appreciated. And they're committed to not only bring you great insurance at a fair price, but also supporting videos like this that help make you a better and safer rider and are saving lives out on the street. Even before Dairyland Insurance came on as a sponsor for MCrider, they had been my insurance provider for several years prior to that. I originally switched to Dairyland Insurance because I gave them a call. I got a real person on the phone, and they saved me a significant amount of money over my old insurance provider. You can either call them directly at the number you see on the screen below or go to mcrider.com/DL24, and I'll forward you directly to their website. Either way, phone or website, it's worth your time to reach out to Dairyland Insurance and see if they can save you some money as well. I have been a happy customer of theirs for several years, and I trust that you will be one as well. So when it comes to finding that most important skill, another big one is cornering. A lot of riders run into problems when they fail to negotiate a curve, and learning proper cornering technique and practicing it is a huge benefit out on the street. I could almost be talked into giving cornering the top spot as the most important if it were not for one kind of issue in that we have total control over how fast we take a corner. So what I mean by that, if a rider's not very good at cornering, they can just slow down more and stay well within their comfort zone when cornering. Not that taking corners at a snail pace doesn't introduce some other safety concerns for the rider, but it is an option at least. Swerving's another big one. It's an important skill, and it is also one of the top ones, but I wouldn't say it's the top skill. So I do believe riders should practice slow speed skills. They should learn cornering skills. They should learn swerving skills. But in my opinion, this is the most important skill you can develop with the greatest chance of saving your life out on the street. Emergency braking and the rider's ability to get their motorcycle to a stop safely, especially on motorcycles that don't have ABS, is a must-have skill for every street rider. Oftentimes our need to emergency brake on the street is caused by something that's outside of our control. Animals in the road, pedestrians, cars pulling in front of us, all require that we have the ability to stop the motorcycle with control and precision and remain upright in doing so. So this week on MCrider, we're going to talk about the proper technique for emergency braking. We're going to go to a parking lot and we'll demonstrate how to practice emergency braking. We'll discuss some common mistakes that riders make while performing emergency braking and how to fix those problems. So let's get on the Indian Challenger. We'll head out to the parking lot. We'll look at several braking attempts. I'll show you how to set this whole thing up and how to practice it. So let's get on the Challenger and we'll head out to a parking lot. The parking lot setup for this exercise is really easy. In my instance, I just use 2 cones. I've got adequate distance on either side of those cones to ride up to the cones and perform the stop in either direction. I encourage you, if you're new to emergency braking, to practice it first without the cones and focus on smooth application of that front brake. What will happen when you get the cones in place is it will put pressure on a lot of riders, and they have a tendency to grab the front brakes when they get to the stopping point. So you want to practice this on a parking lot and just focus initially on that smooth application of the front brake. Then later you can add cones in and a place to begin your stop. Let's talk about body position and posture. We'll start at the top and work our way down. My head and eyes are up. I'm looking at the other end of the parking lot. My shoulders, arms, elbows, and hands are all relaxed, so you can still see bend in my elbows. I'm using a progressive squeeze on that front brake to get the motorcycle to a stop, using a little bit of rear brake. My knees are tight to the tank as I'm performing the stop, and I'm holding on to the motorcycle with my knees. Let's look at that again at full speed so you'll get an idea of the speed that I'm approaching the cones at. I recommend starting at 10 to 15 miles per hour and working your way up to no more than, say, 30 miles per hour. The technique that you use to stop a motorcycle quickly at 30 miles per hour is the same exact technique at 60 miles per hour, so why not work in a little bit safer environment? The key to stopping a motorcycle quickly is a smooth application, especially of the front brake. If you grab that front brake before the motorcycle has had a chance for the weight to transfer to the tire, you're going to lock that tire up, and if you've got ABS, it's going to just extend your stopping distance. If you don't have ABS, it's very likely going to cause a crash. So you want a smooth initial application of that front brake and some pressure on the rear brake. Remember, 70 to 90% of your stopping power is going to be on that front brake, so I really focus on that brake as opposed to worry too much about what's going on with the rear brake. If the front brake locks up at any time, release the brakes and reapply appropriately. If the rear brake locks up, you can just keep it locked up because the motorcycle is just going to swerve side to side as it comes to a stop. It's not going to have a huge impact as long as that tire stays locked up. But remember, the key is a smooth application of that front brake to allow weight to transfer. Smooth and slow are not necessarily the same things, but you definitely want to be smooth and not grabbing that front brake when you begin to apply the brakes. Some common mistakes that riders make, especially when performing an emergency stop out on the street, is they use only one brake. You see a lot of riders use only the rear brake trying to get the motorcycle to a stop. That is going to greatly extend your stopping distance, plus the weight transfers to the front tire, so you're using your least effective tire to try to get the motorcycle to a stop. Practice with the front and rear brake, making sure you apply a smooth application of that front brake. A nice progressive squeeze on that front brake is the best way to get the motorcycle to a safe stop. As I'm approaching the stopping point, I'm shifting up into second gear, and then as I perform the stop, I'm shifting down into first gear. So whenever the tires stop rolling, you want to make sure that motorcycle's in first gear, clutch is pulled in, so you're ready to get out of the way in case something is coming up behind you. Another common mistake that you see riders make when practicing this on a parking lot is looking down at the front tires, or especially looking down at the cones when you come to a stop. If you keep your head and eyes up looking across the parking lot, your motorcycle will be in much better balance when you come to a stop, because your sense of balance will be better because you're not looking down at the ground. So focus on keeping your head and eyes up and use your peripheral vision to know where those cones are in space so that you know the appropriate place to begin your stop. I hope you found this video helpful, and I hope even more that you'll go out to a parking lot and practice emergency braking. All motorcycle skills are perishable, and if you haven't practiced emergency braking in a while, it won't be there when you need it out on the street. Just make sure you practice in a safe location and take your time developing your skills. You know, that's a good thing about practicing on your own. You can practice on your own pace without pushing too far beyond your comfort level. Also, do me a favor, give Dairyland Insurance a call, see if they can save you some money on your motorcycle insurance. And while you're on the phone with them, thank them for sponsoring videos like this and giving back to the motorcycle community. Till next week, guys, it's Kevin with MCrider, and I'll see you on the road. There's a whole lot more to MC Rider than just the weekly videos. Go to mcrider.com/member. You'll get instant access to the forums and the field guide. You get ad-free MC Rider videos and a whole lot more. Go to mcrider.com/member for all the details.